My name is Trent Ramirez, and 3 months ago, I moved to a quiet cul-de-sac in Springfield, Oregon. I was looking for peace. After a messy divorce, 10 years of corporate grind, and the death of my mother, I craved silence like oxygen. I found a little two-story fixer-upper at the end of the street, with just enough yard to keep me grounded and not enough neighbors to drive me crazy. What I didn't account for was Karen Whitmore. Karen was the HOA vice president, mid-50s. Always in a pantsuit, always holding a clipboard. She had the permanent look of someone who smelled something unpleasant, but decided it was beneath her to complain. Her house sat dead center of the cul-de-sac like a spider in the middle of its web. Every neighbor I spoke to said the same thing. Just stay on her good side, Buckfuss. I tried. I really did. I kept my lawn trimmed. I followed the bin schedule. I even attended the first HOA meeting, where she welcomed me with a smile so tight, I thought her teeth might crack. She called me Mr. Ramirez like it was a challenge. I kept my head down. I didn't want trouble. Then came the wedding, last Saturday, at precisely 6:43 a.m. I was jolted awake by Wagner's bridal chorus blasting from a speaker right outside my bedroom. My first thought was, who in their right mind schedules a wedding this early? My second thought was, why is it coming from my driveway? I yanked back the curtain. There it was. My entire driveway had been transformed into a wedding venue. A white arch wrapped in silk ribbons stood in the center. Folding chairs in neat rows spilled onto the edge of my flower beds. Catering tents lined the sidewalk, and a man in a tuxedo was adjusting a microphone like he owned the place. And at the heart of it all stood Karen, waving at me like I was the valet. "Oh, good. You're up," she chirped. "It's just a small ceremony for my niece." "You weren't using your driveway anyway." "Right, I stepped outside in pajama pants and bare feet." "This is private property," I said, calm but firm. "You can't do this. You didn't even ask." She blinked at me like I was the one being unreasonable. "Don't be selfish, Trent. It's only for a few hours." Her niece, standing behind her in a white dress, gave me an apologetic look, but didn't speak. A young man, presumably the groom, seemed more interested in fiddling with his tie than confronting Karen. I gave them 10 minutes. I warned them clearly. Karen just laughed. 10 minutes later, I stood inside my house, phone in hand, watching through the front window. Cars were parked on my lawn. Kids were running through my garden. Someone had attached a power strip to my outdoor outlet. And then I saw a boy no older than 5 peeing in my azaleas. That was it. What Karen didn't know was that my smart home system was fully integrated. Sprinklers, outdoor lights, Bluetooth speakers wired throughout the yard. I'd set it up myself. My therapist had called it a healthy outlet for control issues. At the exact moment the officiant said, "You may kiss the bride," I tapped 2 buttons. The sprinklers roared to life, and so did the speakers. A wall of Scandinavian death metal exploded from every corner of my yard. Guttural growls, double bass drumming, riffs that sounded like a chainsaw having a panic attack. The bride shrieked mid-kiss. The groom fell backward. Chairs toppled. The tent collapsed. The DJ's board sparked and died. Karen stormed toward my door, soaked, mascara streaking. "You think this is funny?" she screamed. I opened the door just enough to meet her eyes and said, "I'm using my property now." Then I shut it again. 2 hours later, 2 officers from the Springfield PD knocked on my door. They looked uncomfortable. One of them scratched the back of his neck and said, "We just need your side of the story." I handed them the footage. My cameras had caught everything. The setup, the crowd, the warnings. I even had the audio where Karen called me ridiculously petty for not letting her niece borrow my property like it was a folding chair. The officers left without another word. I thought that was the end of it. It wasn't. 3 days later, I received notice of a formal complaint filed against me by the HOA. Karen claimed I had deliberately sabotaged a family event, caused emotional distress to her guests, and destroyed expensive DJ equipment. She requested restitution at the emergency HOA meeting. I came prepared. Surveillance footage, printed bylaws, a notarized letter from my lawyer, a police report confirming no charges were filed. When the board watched the footage and saw Karen waving guests onto my lawn, using my hose, and dismissing my objections, the mood shifted. By the end of the night, the board voted unanimously to fine Karen for unauthorized use of private property, suspend her voting rights, and prohibit her from organizing any community event for a full calendar year. I thought justice had been served. Then the internet got involved. I had uploaded a short clip to a private Facebook group. Just a little vent. But someone shared it. A local meme page picked it up, then Reddit, then YouTube. Someone added subtitles and edited the footage into a fake movie trailer, Metal Wedding Massacre HOA edition. It went viral within a week. I was getting interview requests. A local metal band asked to use the clip in their next music video. A neighbor down the street sent me a picture of his own sprinkler system with the caption, "Locked and loaded." Karen tried to defend herself online. Claimed it was a misunderstanding, that I was unstable. But it didn't stick. Too many neighbors had seen the way she ruled the block like a petty tyrant. Then, something changed. 2 weeks later, her husband left. I didn't know the details, but I heard the whispers. Apparently, the wedding stunt had been the final straw. He'd moved in with a woman from the same yoga class Karen had gotten shut down for being too loud. Karen's empire crumbled. She stopped attending HOA meetings. Her yard went untended. The clipboard disappeared. And then one morning, she knocked on my door. No makeup, no pearls, just jeans, a windbreaker, and eyes that had lost their fire. She handed me an envelope. "You'll be hearing from my lawyer," she said. But the lawsuit never came. A week later, her niece and the groom, now husband, showed up. They looked different, softer, happier. "I wanted to thank you," she said. "It was a disaster, but it made us realize something. We needed a fresh start, away from all this. Last I heard, they moved to Idaho. Karen sold her house. The new owners stopped by with pie and a warm smile. No surprise wedding so far, last weekend. I installed a new sign at the edge of my lawn. It reads, 'Private property. Trespassers will be sprayed and featured in my next video.' Sometimes justice doesn't wear a uniform. Sometimes it's a wall of water and 120 decibels of righteous noise. But that wasn't the part that stayed with me. It was the look in Karen's eyes when she handed me that envelope. Not anger, not vengeance. Just a quiet, exhausted sort of regret. Like someone finally realizing the house of cards they built had no foundation. I didn't hear from her again. And for the first time since moving to this cul-de-sac, I finally slept in peace.